KSC present. Man wanted to call a professional to mark his property line, and his neighbors agreed. A while back, Bonnie and her parents moved into a community with little space between houses. While most aspects of the space outside your home isn't under the homeowner's control, what falls onto their property is up for negotiation. For the most part, that is, unless the neighbors have something to say about it. Bonnie and her parents wanted security in their home, and the one thing that bothered her parents most was the fact that their neighbors could see directly into their kitchen window. So, they set out to accomplish a simple fix for the problem: planting some hedges that would act as a border between the family's window and their neighbor's yard, but their neighbors weren't so happy about that. Plants that Bonnie's parents put up ultimately cost them thousands of dollars because of installation and maintenance costs, but that was worth it to have some privacy. And the hedges should have only been a one-time expense, or so they thought before their neighbor spoke up about his thoughts on the matter. A week after the hedges were put in, Bonnie's parents awoke in the middle of the night to a rattling sound in the hedges. When they went to investigate the sound, they found their neighbor chopping down the hedges they had just paid for. So much for good fences make good neighbors. Of course, Bonnie's father was furious at his neighbor for carelessly damaging his property. So he demanded an explanation from his neighbor, and his neighbor Mark supplied one. He said that the plants were on his property line, so he could do whatever he wanted to do with them, and he issued the family a warning. After destroying the family's hedges, Mark also let them know that if any other objects, plants or people were to go on his property again, he would report them to the authorities immediately. Although Bonnie's family thought that they should be the ones reporting their neighbor for destroying their property. Later the day of the argument, Bonnie's father contacted the company who had planted the hedges and was informed that with their warranty, they could have the hedges replanted next week for no extra change. So, the family made sure that the hedges were on their property line entirely. But that wasn't the last time they heard from their neighbor, Mark. A few days after the hedges were planted for a second time, Bonnie's family was once again awoken by Mark chopping the hedges down in the middle of the night. So, Bonnie's family called the police and reported obstruction of property. But they still had to set the debate surrounding the property line. After the police were called, Mark and Bonnie's father decided that they need to call a professional to mark the property line that separated the two houses once and for all. After both parties agreed, they awaited the news diligently, with both parties hoping they were in the right. A few days later, Bonnie returned home to find orange tape all over her neighbor's yard. Apparently, that he thought was the property line couldn't have been farther from the truth. In reality, his own fence was 11 feet over Bonnie's family's property line, meaning that he was the one who would have to do some renovations. Bonnie's family watched happily from their kitchen window as Mark took down his fence, completely furious. This change gave her family a bigger yard, more comfort and security in their home, and a complete feeling of satisfaction. For the time Bonnie's family lived in that home, they enjoyed their new yard, and their neighbor ended up losing about a quarter of his yard space. He also ended up paying Bonnie's family almost $10,000 for destruction of personal property. The lesson of this story just may be always try to negotiate peacefully with your neighbors before things escalate out of hand. You might just save yourself a lot of trouble for doing so. And do your due diligence when settling property disputes with your neighbors. Instead of arguing, check the facts immediately. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.